Mayor, what do you want the people in this audience to do? You've got a cross-section of folks here from the business and civic community. These are people who are interested enough to come and listen to what you have to say. They're not in the business necessarily of working at politics and policy every day. So if there's one thing that you want to say to them, that you want them to take home, that you think is going to get them to get up and do something, what is that, and what is it you want them to do?
Probably most of you belong to groups that are devoted to special interests, and it's not evil to be part of a group that advocates those aspects of a cause that will help you personally. That's normal. But what I would hope is that the people who are involved, like you, and involved in advocating things that will help their particular area of the public, whether it's the middle class or the rich or the advocates for the poor, that you would say to yourself, what is it that we can do when we make our pitch for ourselves, that we at the same time will say, we understand that we too have to sacrifice, that we too have to ask for less, that we too have to say no to our own membership that is demanding more than the state in this case can provide. It was Dick who talked about, and I agree with that completely, self-sacrifice. There has to be an understanding that you can no longer be a pig at the trough, that you have to understand that the days, as QA3 said when he first came in, of wine and roses are over. They're over a long, long time ago. But that's got to be re-emphasized. And I believe that looking to what the governor of New Jersey has said successfully is a model to be pursued.
Okay.
Can I make one fast observation? I tell you a story that I don't think's ever been in writing. When the state got into trouble and QA3 was wrestling with these issues, every time we were going to have a meeting in the governor's office, the governor would ask me, call Ed Koch, ask him to either come back from Washington or if he's in New York to join us, because I trust him and I want to make sure that there is a constant liaison with our congressional delegations so they understand everything that's going on. And with the few exceptions when there was a vote in the House, Ed was present at every one of those meetings. I have to tell you, one of the things that struck me, you talk about a tension between the governor and the legislature. What struck me very significantly this year was the total disconnect between our congressional delegation and the problems of the state. Here they are in Washington asked to vote for expenditures that for which there is no revenues, for deficit financing in Washington, and a lot of them say they do that because the political system in New York doesn't have the guts to cut or tax in Albany. So there is a disconnect, and there is not a single member of our congressional delegation whose election or re-election was in any way dependent on the problems of the state of New York. Think about it. It wasn't an issue in any congressional election. And that has an impact as well because this is not just a local problem or just a state problem. It's also a national problem.
Let me close with a story that also hasn't been told, I don't think. QA3 is the greatest governor of the modern era that the state of New York has ever had. He saved the city and the state of New York. There's no question about it. He understood every problem. He had the personality to deal with it. He was extraordinary. and not yet sufficiently appreciated. And he and I were very good friends, and he was the chairman of the New York delegation, and I was the secretary, and we worked very closely together. And when he was running, I was quite popular. I was the mayor, and when he was running for re-election, we were at, I think it was Yankee Stadium at the time, and I'm not big on sports. He was, but I always stayed for at least one inning, and he was scared to death that he was going to be called on to throw the first ball out, and no matter how popular you are at a sports event, you're going to be booed. That's just de rigueur. I mean, no matter how popular you are, and Carey was popular, but he knew he was going to be booed, and he was very, very distressed by it. So I said, Huey, let me tell you what our tactic is. We have these caps, Yankee caps, and the two of us are going to go out together, and they're going to be booing. And as they're booing, in your ear, and I know in my ear, I'm going to hear applause and cheering, and I'm going to take my cap off, and you are too, and we're going to say, thank you, thank you, and it'll drive him nuts. And that's what we did.
I'm Stuart Shorenstein from Cozen O'Connor, and we just want to thank you so much for such an enlightening and fascinating panel discussion. For all of us political junkies in this room, this has been a very, very rare treat to hear two statesmen that combine nearly a century of experience and leadership. They're the people who looked into the abyss, they made the hard choices, they took the bold actions, but most importantly, they came here not to reminisce, but they came here to really express the vision of what needs to be done, and their response and call for action is really a call for our action. And if we don't stand up as citizens and make the demands upon the political structure will not respond to us. So we thank you very, very much. We thank our co-sponsors, and we look forward to organizing another breakfast in the next couple of months, and we'll let everyone know about that. Thank you for coming.